Well, this is what we need. A big thank you to the viewer who sent this to us. It was a fantastic analysis of the Dickens dossiers. And many people at the moment simply think that Mr. Britton was handed one dossier. In fact, there were 5 circulating, 3 which were the Dickens dossiers, and another 2 which came in into Leon Britton from Scotland Yard. So if you want to look at some of this yourself, there's the web address, and it's spotlightonabuse.wordpress.com. So thank you very much to the person who did the original research on this, which has allowed us to put it in a slightly different format. Well, here he is, the man at the centre, Leon Britton. And of course, what's he been saying? Well, muddle, confusion, incompetence, move along, nothing to see. But what we now know is there was dossier number 1, 20th of August 1983, dossier number 2, which was around about 23rd of November 1983, a third dossier in January 1984, and then we have 2 from Scotland Yard, file 1, 23rd of August approximately, and file 2, 25th of August. Now, where has all this information come from? Well, thanks to that diligent researcher, Spotlight on Abuse, we can show you some of the original newspaper articles. And when you look at these, it becomes obvious how ridiculous it is for Leon Britton to claim, well, I didn't really remember what was being given to me. Here you are, Scotland Yard sends 2 new reports on the paedophile information exchange to ministers. Let's have a look at what they said. 2 separate reports on the paedophile information exchange, which wants to legalise sex between adults and children, have been prepared for ministers after Scotland Yard's 3rd investigation into the organisation. The first report, prepared by the Yard and sent to Mr. Leon Britton, will be used by the Home Secretary when he returns from holiday next week and has to decide whether the organisation ought to be banned. Mr. Britton is likely to reject the demand for a ban. I wonder why. And if we go back to the end of the article, the second report compiled by Scotland Yard is being sent later this week to Sir Thomas Hetherington, the Director of Public Prosecutions. It lists the names of PI members and provides details of the organisation's latest activity. And that is obviously the Guardian report from the 25th of August. Well, if we hop across to the Daily Express, what have we got here? Well, part of the headline, Mr. Dickens, revealed that 8 public figures were on his list of shame, and one of them had been a personal friend. And credit to Mr. Dickens, he said, it doesn't matter this person's a friend. When it comes to protecting children, you have to do what needs to be done. Well, let's have a look at what else it says in this article. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Sir Thomas Hetherington, today takes delivery of a file on paedophilia, the distasteful fruit of 2 years' work by Scotland Yard's Obscene Publication Squad. So this is not some bunch of papers. This is the result of 2 years' work by Scotland Yard. The squad's thick file containing the names of the famous, the wealthy, and hundreds of anonymous citizens. And it goes on, 2 years ago, Mr. Dickens defied leading figures in the Tory party by publicly exposing former diplomat and NATO advisor Sir Peter Hayman. Isn't it interesting that Mr. Dickens had to defy leading Tories, people who didn't want dangerous people to be exposed? And let's look at what it says here. At the end of the article, it starts to talk about the fact that Mr. Dickens has fears about his safety because he has dared to start reporting what is happening to children in Britain. Well, the reports went on, so here's more from the Daily Mail. 15 men named in child sex report. It's talking about the Scotland Yard investigation. And then this one interesting because this apparently says that Leon Britton is pushing for the paedophile report so that he can take action. Well, of course, we know evidence seems to suggest to us at least that he'd be pushing for it in order to make sure there was no action. But press reports on the 25th of November, pretty clear, Palace link in child sex scandal. And what have we got here? Should come up shortly, we hope anyway. There we are, homosexual link between Buckingham Palace and the Sex with Children group Pi was claimed yesterday in a massive dossier of evidence by Tory MP Geoffrey Dickens. The 16-year-old boy told his parents he'd been regularly abused by members of the royal household at the palace. And Mr. Dickens said, "I'm concerned the palace could be part of a chain supplying young men to paedophiles and homosexuals in the diplomatic," we believe that is the word, it's difficult to read due to the print, the diplomatic service all over the world. The boys claimed are backed up by similar employees. Again, a little bit difficult to make those words out, but that's what we think is being said in this big article. And if we go to the Times, well, here it is again. MP alleges paedophilia at the palace. And if we come down to this section here, it was a case, allegedly involving Buckingham Palace, of course, of a civil servant receiving 57 indecent photographs involving children. There appears on face value to have been a cover-up, which I want investigating. And that is the words, of course, of that very brave MP, Mr. Dickens, who's tried to get the lid off this. So let's go on. Here's the Daily Mirror, the 19th of January, 1984. And the key bit is Tory MP Dickens yesterday handed the Home Secretary a sensational 50-page dossier on the paedophile information exchange, and even the Huddersfield Daily Examiner also picked up on this, reporting the same information that a 50-page dossier had gone across. Now, why would the state want to cover this up? Well, we can probably go to this headline from the Express. TV chief is named in child sex probe. So it says that there were a number of things that Mr. Dickens had claimed: police accepting bribes from sex shop owners, religious cults involving young girls, an investigation of a children's home. Well, that couldn't possibly be true if we look at
Elm House.
Pardon?
Elm House.
Elm House is one, yeah. A youth worker and young boys in his care, and the TV boss who is alleged to have had sex with a child and who has been seen with known paedophiles. So we just put that up on the screen so that we can see it. And also this article again says that since he started his campaign, Mr. Dickens has suffered continual harassment. Now, could it be that the top TV boss would be somebody connected with the BBC? It's a shame we don't know. But what has the BBC been up to? Well, hot off Jimmy Savile, the BBC has already started a smear campaign to undermine the exposure and the good work that Geoffrey Dickens has done. And here we are, BBC Today programme, the 9th of July 2014, a smirking smear article, basically, to try and undermine what this man has to say, coming from an organisation that clearly covered up the activities of Jimmy Savile. So was it, do we think, a member of the BBC that was named in that Dickens dossier?